If you're an empath, the odds that you had a traumatizing, challenging, emotionless childhood are quite high. It really comes down to nurture versus nature. I believe it's a bit of both, but usually nurture plays a huge component with the empath. And in stark contrast, the narcissist also experiences the same. So, before I dive into some insights about this phenomenon of living without empathy in childhood and also in adulthood and how painful it can be for the empath, we have to understand that as an empath, you've got to give yourself a level of credit that somewhere along the line you made either a conscious or subconscious choice to not perpetuate the dysfunction, the toxicity of your parents. You made a choice to go in the opposite direction. However, going too far in the opposite direction, becoming a people pleaser, so to speak, can be detrimental. But I want to share some insight from my book, Pink is the Color of Empathy. This is a deep dive into helping empaths optimize their empathy, but also understand the role of the narcissist and the parents and how we ourselves can optimize this gift in the way that we share it and give it with the world. But this chapter has to do with the misfortune of the empath. And I begin this chapter by talking about where our self confidence is built, and it's usually in our childhood. So think back to a time when you felt empowered, confident on your game. What were the external forces that helped you grow in confidence and be in the flow? Usually, the forces of self confidence are established and built during childhood. When healthy, supportive parents or guardians feel the pain of their child, they instinctually soothe, nurture, and reassure. They are there for and with the child. When children experience setbacks, all it takes is a warm, loving set of paternal arms wrapped around them to put the world back together again. Such warmth enables children to feel seen, heard, and understood. Safe. Loved. I'm going to pause there for a second. So, again, as a reminder, if you're an empath, you probably did not have the luxury, the privilege of experiencing these most basic childhood needs. So, I honor you just for that. Well, the same human responses are present in our teenage years and as adults. This feeling of safety and love can only be provided through caring and understanding. It requires another human protecting your well being and honoring the essence of who you are and who you're not. We give an abundance of this reassurance to people in our circle, to our friends, to our family, to our romantic partners, to our colleagues at work. We give, we give, we give. We make them feel safe. But it's not always reciprocated, and this can be very painful for the empath. Hopefully, your parents were there for you, but as we've just already established, the odds are they weren't. Hopefully, your parents were there for you. You were surrounded and fueled by love, support, and you were understood and encouraged. Your emotional, spiritual, and mental needs were met. You were never made to feel irrelevant. Your emotional, spiritual, and mental bank account was solid. This healthy, stable foundation set you up for a promising and wealthy future. Even with such a healthy childhood, children experience scars or trauma whenever the world denies their existence in any capacity. At school, from teachers, classmates, and so forth. We are social beings and therefore need community. Even the most extreme introverts need community. Yes, I'm an introvert, you might be too. Even the most extreme introverts need community. The size of the village is relative. At the opposite end of the emotional spectrum, the neglected child, the misunderstood child, the invisible child, the traumatized child will face a seemingly insurmountable uphill battle. It will be difficult to grow wings, let alone fly without a net. It won't be impossible, just difficult. Without empathy, a parent can't be a good parent. They will be incapable of validating their children's emotions. They will cause a profound emotive void that the child will struggle to fill for the remainder of their life. That child will not have a launching pad from which to fly. Over time, if left unresolved, the void will become a highly detrimental and self-sabotaging mental health issue. Unfortunately, the pace of modern society has promoted an emotional void for kids. It concerns me who and what our children will become. I don't mean this in the sense of, well, back in the day things were better, but rather that technology has brought about a change that the human brain is having trouble adapting to. Luckily, children are resilient and will adapt. Societal growth pains will leave deep scars and trauma nonetheless. We are already seeing the impact. Without empathy, a friend can't be a good friend. Without empathy, a romantic partner can't be a great partner. Life without experiencing empathy is painful and lonely on any level. At home with a disconnected and indifferent loved one, at work with a heartless boss, and among our fake friends who undermine us behind our backs. Unfortunately, you probably do relate to some of those pain points in your life, having experienced the trauma as a child. And again, the objective of this book is to raise self-awareness for yourself about your journey. And it's about helping empaths own their story, removing the shame and the guilt. And also, maybe the most important aspect is we give empathy to everybody else in the world, and we oftentimes forget to give it to ourselves. Now, I talk about a village. You as an individual cannot necessarily replace the village. But if the village isn't there for you, it means you have to dig deep into your most instinctual survival skills and understand that what the world can't give you, you have to find a way to give it to yourself. And there are many ways of doing that. There are many practices. For some people, it's God. For some people, it's meditation. For some people, it's art. For some people, it's animals. It's nature. But just be very conscious that if you have that void from childhood and you want to find a level of emotional health, emotional stability, and you're not finding it around your friends, two things. Either you have to remove those people from your circle because they're just throwing fuel onto the fire, your emotional lack, or you have to go inward.